Liverpool discovers new update on Hugo Ekitike's injury, with possible timeline revealed. Attention fans. Liverpool confident in a new deal for key defender. Liverpool awaits a huge agreement for the England international. Welcome, dear Red supporter. Come check out the latest updates from the greatest club in the world. A sports physiology specialist analyzed the injury suffered by Hugo Ekitike during Liverpool's 1-0 defeat to Galatasaray in the Champions League and suggested that the French striker could be sidelined for a considerable period. Ekitike was forced to leave the pitch in the 68th minute after feeling pain during a stretch to reach the ball. He received medical attention from Liverpool's staff on the field, but could not continue and had to be substituted. Liverpool manager Arne Slot commented after the match that the player himself did not believe the injury to be serious, although the initial suspicion points to a hamstring problem. He felt something when he had to stretch for the ball. We all know what can happen in those moments when you force the movement. At first, I didn't even realize we had a problem because the referee had stopped play and another player was down. But soon we saw Hugo wasn't comfortable. After the match, it's always difficult to assess because players often say it's nothing serious, but there's a big difference between walking and having to run or kick a ball. He told me he couldn't go on, so we had to replace him. Now we'll have to wait and see how he reacts before the weekend, said the coach. Hugo Ekitike himself downplayed the issue, saying after the game that it felt like just a cramp. However, there are worrying precedents. Fullback Jeremy Frimpong went through something similar in Liverpool's 4-2 win over Bournemouth in the Premier League opener. He also thought it was just a minor hamstring injury, but ended up missing the following 2 matches. According to the profile at Physio Scout, which specializes in football injury analysis, Ekitike's case could be similar. The page assessed that the Frenchman has a strong chance of being out for at least 2 weeks and possibly up to 6 weeks if scans confirm a grade 2 injury. The specialist explained, stretching mechanisms usually result in longer absences. Ekitike mentioned he thought it was only a cramp, but that still needs to be confirmed. Imaging exams will be crucial to determine the real extent of the injury. The report also provided a recovery timeline based on the severity. If there is only muscle stiffness, the return could happen in less than a week. For a grade 1 injury, considered mild, the recovery period ranges from 2 to 4 weeks. For grade 2 injuries, classified as moderate, the absence can last 4 to 6 weeks. Grade 3 injuries, more serious, usually require 8 to 12 weeks or longer. In short, Hugo Ekitike's injury may be more serious than it first appeared. Specialists suggest that in most cases like his, it is typically a grade 2 injury, which would sideline him for at least a month. Even mild strains require 2 weeks of recovery. Liverpool will conduct medical exams in the coming days to confirm the severity, but the striker is already doubtful for the next Premier League and Champions League fixtures. Liverpool has stepped up efforts to secure the long-term future of Ibrahima Konate at Anfield. The club is in advanced talks to renew the contract of the 26-year-old French defender, who is now seen as one of the team's defensive pillars and an essential figure in its long-term plans. Konate, a product of the FC Social Academy, joined Liverpool in 2021 from RB Leipzig in a deal worth around €40 million. Since then, he has established himself as one of Europe's top defenders, forming one of the strongest partnerships in world football alongside Virgil van Dijk. His current contract, signed upon arrival, is nearing its end, prompting the board to act decisively to avoid the risk of losing one of their most valuable assets. Talks over an extension began last year, but were not straightforward. An initial offer in December was deemed insufficient to reflect the defender's importance in the squad. At that time, Konate chose to focus solely on sporting performance, putting negotiations on hold until the season's end. Liverpool, meanwhile, closed the campaign with a historic achievement, their 20th league title, equaling Manchester United's record, a milestone that further underlined the importance of players like the Frenchman in the team's journey. In recent months, the board revised its approach. New proposals have been presented, the latest just 2 weeks ago. These offers include salary and contract adjustments that move Konate closer to the status of an undisputed starter, recognizing his impact on and off the pitch. Sources close to the club indicate that the atmosphere around the negotiations is now more positive, and there is growing confidence that a deal will soon be reached. Still, the situation is being closely monitored by Europe's elite clubs. Real Madrid is among those watching developments carefully, even though no formal contact has been made so far. Liverpool is aware that delays could open the door for competitors to step in, which is why they aim to conclude talks before external interest intensifies. For Konate, the final decision is likely to depend on a combination of factors: financial terms, sporting ambition, and personal security. At 26, he's entering what many consider the prime years for a center-back. Staying at Anfield with guarantees of stability and competitiveness could be a crucial step not only for his personal career, but also for the club's future. Manager Arne Slot sees the Frenchman as a strategic piece for Liverpool's new cycle. The club seeks balance between maintaining a solid core and evolving to remain competitive at the highest level. Konate, beyond his physical presence and tactical intelligence, has been steadily gaining respect in the dressing room, becoming a leadership figure and reference for his teammates. The coming weeks promise to be decisive. The board aims to seal the deal before outside pressure mounts and rival clubs attempt to interfere. For now, the mood at Anfield is optimistic, with the expectation that Ibrahima Konate will commit his best years to Liverpool, cementing himself as the defensive anchor of the team for the long term. Liverpool has once again been linked with Everton defender Jared Branthwaite, amid the club's growing need to strengthen its defensive line. The current situation at Anfield is delicate. Ibrahima Konate is under contract only until 2026. While Sepp Vandenberg and Leone are sidelined, leaving coach Arne Slot with very limited options for the remainder of the season. In this scenario, the Reds are looking for future alternatives. One of the names mentioned is Mark Guéhi, who could be available on a free transfer next summer. However, any move to sign the England international will have to be postponed, as there is no immediate possibility of advancing in this deal. Meanwhile, a new report published by Football Insider highlighted that Everton has ruled out any chance of negotiating Jared Branthwaite in January. The 23-year-old defender is considered a valuable asset at Goodison Park, and his departure in the middle of the season is out of the question. According to the report, even with interest from giants like Manchester United and Liverpool, the Toffees have no intention of letting go of their defender at this moment. It is worth noting that Branthwaite has yet to feature this season due to a muscle injury and remains in recovery with the medical staff. Nevertheless, his name continues to be one of the most talked about in the transfer market for next summer, when new negotiations may open. In the meantime, Liverpool continues to monitor other defensive options. Among the players being observed are Ajax duo Aaron Bouwman and Yuri Boss, as well as Brighton's Jan-Paul van Heek. These names are being analyzed as alternatives to expand Arne Slot's range of choices. Currently, the manager only has Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahima Konate, and Joe Gomez as available center-backs, which greatly limits his options to deal with the intense Premier League and European competition schedule. This shortage makes the search for reinforcements even more urgent, aiming to bring not only depth, but also security and quality to the Reds' defensive line. Liverpool, therefore, remains highly attentive in the market and is expected to intensify moves in the upcoming windows in order to guarantee stability in the defensive sector and prepare the team for the challenges ahead. Thank you very much for watching until now. See you next time.